thank you very much for coming to our presentation, last presentation of the day. So, we really appreciate you making the effort to come here. As Sophie said, I'm David, this is Jessica. We're both part of the sales engineering team, and we're going to give you some idea of what you can do with Twilio Conferences. If you are familiar with Twilio and with TWIML, setting up a call from A to B is, probably not that difficult for you, and it looks something like this. Although it's easy to set up, there's not much you can do with the call from that point. You don't get an awful lot of extra control about what happens. You can't transfer it very easily. You can't put someone on hold. So what do you do if you want these sorts of features? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. You do those things using Twilio Conference. So we're going to talk about what Twilio Conference is, because it's not just conference calling with lots of people. We're going to talk about the APIs that we use to control conferences and what you can do with each one. And then we have a little bit of a surprise towards the end. So, what is a Twilio conference? We're going to start with a physical explanation. So, let's go back to our A to B call. So let's imagine this arm here, if one can see it, is a call coming into Twilio. The call comes in and it's looking for TWIML. That's what the wiggly fingers mean. Call's looking for TWIML. So we do a dial out to Jessica. Jessica answers. We're connected. Great. We're having a conversation. But as soon as Jessica drops, my call leg is back looking for TWIML. If there's no TWIML, it just dies. What happens if we don't want that? Well, we can use a conference. So call comes into a Twilio number, looks for TWIML. We give it TWIML that connects it to a conference. Now we put a call out to Jessica, and Jessica answers. We put her in the same conference. Now she drops. I'm still connected to the conference. Jessica comes back. I drop. She's still connected to the conference. I come back, somebody else comes in, another person comes in, and we can take people out and in the conference as we see fit because they're still attached. So, more succinctly, a conference is an attachment point for call legs, and it provides media mixing. And between those two things, you can achieve advanced call control. You can put up to 250 participants into a conference. We offer something that we call GLL, or Global Low Latency. That means we will mix the conference closest to the majority of your participants to cut down on lag. We do charge per participant per minute. The charge varies according to the region in which your conference is mixed, so you can see the prices on the website. And we have 3 APIs to control it. We've got TWIML, the conferences API, and the participants API. So we're going to go in now and see what we can do with these. I'm going to start with TWIML. TWIML is the basic way that we put people into a conference. So the most simple example, a call comes in, Twilio will send a webhook to your application, and instead of just saying dial, you're going to return us the dial verb and use the conference noun. The conference noun tells us that you want to put this call into a conference. You provide us with some friendly name, it can be whatever you want. If the conference doesn't exist, we create it. If it does exist, we add the participant. I'm going to use Signal in all my slides because obviously Signal is the best conference. So we return that TWIML. Twilio creates a conference. The caller is added. Great, we've got one person in our conference. What if we want to put a second person in our conference? Well, we're going to call upon another API here. We're going to use Twilio's Calls API to make an outbound call. Now, you may or may not know that when you use this API to make an outbound call, you specify URL. So here we're going to specify a URL of makeconf. Twilio also great. Make the outbound call to that second participant. Once that participant answers, Twilio comes back with a webhook to that URL. And we can then serve more dial conference TWIML and put that second person into the conference. Great, we've now got 2 people in the conference. But what happens if you've already set up your A to B call? Well, you can still get those people into a conference call. We use the calls REST endpoint again, but with a little bit of a difference. This is, on our website, we call this advanced usage. So again, you may not have seen this, but you can call the calls REST endpoint specifying a call SID. And if you do that, you're basically telling Twilio that you want to disconnect this call from the TWIML to which it is currently connected and get it to go find new TWIML. So we're going to do that here. Again, we pass a URL. That URL is for the new TWIML we want to serve. So Twilio pulls that call, comes back to our web server, says, great, you gave me this URL, please give me some TWIML. And then we say dial conference. And that call ends up in a conference. Now, the order in which I'm doing things on this slide, some of you may realize is incorrect. Because if you remember back to our physical demonstration, at this point, that second call leg would just drop because it's no longer connected to anything. But for the sake of clarity, I kind of messed around with the ordering a little bit to show that, if you then wanted the other call in the conference, another post to calls, and then another webhook and more TWIML. If you wanted to do this in real life, you'd have to send both REST requests to the calls endpoint at the same time and hope that you didn't hit some sort of window where, one call got disconnected before the TWIML got served. It's a little bit messy, so try and avoid it if you can. Okay, the other thing we can do with the TWIML API is subscribe to conference events. So let's imagine you're giving a lecture and it's an audio lecture only. People are dialing in to hear you speak. Because you're going to have a lot of people dialing in and potentially dropping off, you want to turn off the beep when people come in and come out. But you still want to see how many people are listening. Perhaps you want to see who they are, and you want to keep an eye on when people are coming in, coming out. If a lot of people are dropping off, maybe it's time to keep moving on, that sort of thing. So for that, we use conference events. It starts off very much like putting someone into a basic conference. Call comes in, Twilio goes to your web server for a webhook. You come back with dial conference TWIML. But this time, on the conference now, and sorry, the writing gets a bit smaller, you're going to provide us with a StatusCallback URL, and you're going to tell us what events you would like Twilio to tell you about. So, here we're specifying start, end, join, leave, mute, hold. So please tell me when a conference starts, when a conference ends, when someone joins my conference, someone leaves my conference, when their mute status changes, and when their hold status changes. So as an example, somebody else joins the conference, somehow Twilio will come back and tell you, a participant has joined. We have just recently added a new conference event that you can subscribe to that some people are going to get excited about, and that is the speaker event. You can now get Twilio to send you a webhook when someone starts or stops speaking in your conference call. So I'm sure, if you've been on one of these sort of desktop sharing apps like WebEx or something, you get those little indications in the top right about who it is that's speaking. You can now do that with Twilio Conference. I'm going to show you that in a demo in a little bit. So something else you can do with the TWIML app, a feature you can create, is the monitor feature. Those of you who are familiar with call centers probably know what this is. Those of you who are not, the monitor feature is when you join a call and you're just listening. You just want to hear what's going on without saying anything. So let's say Alice and a customer are in a conference. Brahim wants to hear what's going on. So dials into a Twilio number perhaps. Twilio sends a webhook to your application. You then return dial conference TWIML, but on the conference noun, you set the muted parameter to true. Brahim then joins the conference muted, and we have affected monitor. So that's it for TWIML. Let's go on to the next API. There's not a lot to say about this API. There's only two things you can really do with it. The conferences API. You can find out what conferences are on your account. You do this using the get method to just the conferences endpoint, and Twilio will tell you, hey, there are these conferences. Signal 16 is over, obviously. Signal 17, still in progress. Because, we're reaching the end of the day, perhaps you want to end the Signal 17 conference. So you can also post to the conferences endpoint specifying a conference SID and change its status. So we're going to say conference 17 is completed. Twilio is going to kill the conference and kick out all the participants. The participants API. This is a little bit richer. Again, we have a get method. Fine, you can find out the details of the people in a conference. Do an HTTP get to conferences/conferenced/participants. And Twilio will tell you about the participants in the call. You'll see on the right that you're getting notifications. We're telling you about, is this person muted? Are they on hold? You can also change those parameters by doing a post to the API. So let's say we have 2 people in a conference. We want to put one of them on hold. You post to the participants API, specifying the conference SID, the call SID of the participant that you're referencing to, and you say, I want to put this person on hold. Twilio says, OK. And that person is now on hold. They're still connected to the conference. Their call leg isn't flailing around looking for Twimmel. They're connected to the conference, but they're hearing hold music. They can't hear the conference. No one in the conference can hear them. Now, from here, you can do warm transfer. Those of you who are familiar enough with Twilio that you tried to do warm transfer before we released the Participants API know that this was a pretty horrible mess. Before this, you had to take the party that you were trying to transfer and connect them to a different conference, and remember that conference SID as well as the call SID, and then it was pretty ugly. But now it's a lot simpler. So we have one agent in the call and one held customer. We get our second agent to dial in. We get our first agent to hang up. No rest or Twimmel required for either of those actions. And then we just take the customer off hold. And that's it. Warm transfer has been done. Also, we can do Barge. So again, if you're not from a call center background, Barge is where perhaps a supervisor is listening to a call, decides that things aren't going as well as he or she would like, and wants to leap in and save the day. So in this example, we have Alice and a customer in a conference call. Brahim is listening, monitoring, staying quiet. But, Brahim very strongly believes in his own opinions and decides that he wants to come in and say his piece. So we get the application to post to the Participants API, specifying a conference SID, Brahim's call SID, and just set muted to false. And now he's in the conference, and the other 2 participants can hear him. And that's it. We've done Barge. So I'm going to give you a bit of a demo now. Going to demo the conference participants and the Participants API, sorry, conference events and the Participants API. So just exit my presentation, come over here. If you hang on a minute, there is a bug in this, so I'm going to dial in first, because for some reason that seems to be the bug. Whoops. Right, so I'm going to dial in. Just let me dial in. OK, I'm in. Now, if some of you could also dial in, pull out your phones and dial that number, that would be super helpful. Now, you can already see that we're getting events. Everybody's getting participant speech, start, stop, that sort of thing. If you mute your phone, you'll probably see your number come up with participant speech stop. If you unmute it, you'll see it come up with participant speech start. Now, so those are the events. I'm going to show you some of the controls we can do. So who is this one? 205. OK, sir. I'm going to put you on hold. So hopefully, in a second, you should hear hold music. No? Ah, that's annoying. Maybe this person. My hold button's broken again. This happened earlier. All right, can I hold myself? No. Can I mute someone? All right, so can you start talking? OK, I'm going to try muting you. No. Well, I'm very sorry. It seems that we have overloaded the ability, because I'm using sync on the back end, and I think we've overloaded the ability of it to handle quite so many events. Anyway, you can build a dashboard like this that allows you to mute people, put them on hold, and you can then kick them off. Maybe this will work. No. Oh well, never mind. You can build a dashboard like that, and hopefully you'll deploy it in a way that allows that many people to join and not collapse the whole thing. So we're going to move on now, because that failed. So you want to hang up. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've covered that, the existing products. And now this is our announcement. So if you feel like doing a drum roll or a belly roll or a jam roll or any sort of roll you like, we are very excited to announce Agent Conference. You might have already heard this mentioned. This is meant to be its announcement, but not everyone gets that. What is it? It is an extension to, at the moment, 2 of our existing APIs, the TWIML API and the Participants API, to give you added features and added control. Do things that you couldn't previously. It is a separate product from the existing conference product. It has all of the features of the existing conference product, but we add these new ones as well. As such, it has a separate price. So if you go into your console, you can switch between the current product and the Agent Conference product. Agent Conference is currently in beta, and you can see it has different prices. Don't add the left column and the right column prices. It's just separate. So, some of the things we can now do. We have added the ability for you to put a person into a conference with a single post request. So previously, when we were giving you examples of how you would put someone in a conference, you had to maybe do a call to the calls endpoint, do an outbound call, and when that call came in, there would be a webhook and then TWIML with dial conference. Scrap most of that now. We just do a post to conferences / friendly name of a conference. You don't even have to know a conference SID / participants. Again, like with the TWIML, if this conference already exists, we're asking Twilio to add the participant to the conference. If the conference doesn't exist, with this one post request, we're asking Twilio to go make a call to a person, create the conference, and then place them in the conference. There's a huge array of parameters that you can add to this post request, because they are basically the parameters that you get on the calls endpoint for making an outbound call. They are the parameters that you get on the dial conference TWIML, because we're creating a conference call. And they are the parameters on the participants API, because we're adding a participant to the conference. So there's a lot you can do. It's very feature rich. So in this example, I'm going to redo my monitor example using a single post request. So in this post request, I'm going to say, right, we want to add Brahim to the existing conference. Mute equals true. Twilio places a call to Brahim. Brahim answers, and we just put him in the conference on mute. And that was it. One post request, and he's in and listening. So now, to give us a demo on using that, I'll hand over to Jessica. Hopefully yours gets better than mine did.
All right, can everyone hear me all right? Okay, I'm not super loud though. Okay, good. All right, so I am going to do a demo today of that, one post request to put someone in the conference. So I'm actually going to do warm transfer in every single leg of the call flow is going to be done with REST API requests. There's actually going to be no TWIML involved whatsoever. Everything is going to be REST API with this new Agent Conference feature. But I'm also going to announce something else with that API. It's a new parameter. It's the early media parameter, and I would love to do a survey of the room and see how many of you guys know what early media is. So we have just a handful of people. So what early media is in the context of a conference call is, let's say I make that post request to the participants endpoint to put someone into the conference. Before, you might not, if you were putting someone into a conference, you're not necessarily going to know what the status of the call is. The early media parameter actually allows you to hear things like ringing, a busy signal, disconnected message. It just gives you more insight into the status of the call before it actually connects. And so if I'm an agent, it's a better user experience for me to know what's going on with the call. And then I can make some decision to maybe end the call if it goes to voicemail or just take any action I want. But we just wanted to make it known to that agent what's going on that call, and so they can make a choice. And it's as easy as just setting early media to true. That's it. I'm not going to get into the specifics of how difficult it was before to actually accomplish this without this parameter, but it definitely was a lot harder than that, and so now it's elegant, it's fast. Another thing about this endpoint, this post participants, is it's the fastest way to put someone into a conference right now with that outbound call. So the first thing I'm going to do for my demo is just go ahead and connect. I'm using Twilio clients, so I'm going to connect. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and join the room.
Is there no audio?
Yeah. Oh no, we've got it. We've got the audio. Just wanted to make sure. Can everyone actually hear the noises? Okay, good, because that's kind of important. So I pushed a button, and then I made a API request and put myself into the conference. One request and it's done. And so now, let's say I'm a salesperson, I'm ready to actually dial out to a customer. So I don't know if anyone in the front row wants to participate in the demo and volunteer to be my customer and give me a number that I can go ahead and dial out to. Anybody? How about you? Old person in the Twilio jacket. 303 808 0 what? Can you repeat? 244. All right. So we're going to make another request, and we're going to dial out to our customer. And can everybody hear? Okay, there we go. That's our early media. So now we actually can hear, hey, this is a legitimate number, that's not disconnected. We're not getting a busy signal. So our customer can go ahead and answer. All right, and so at this point, I would chat with my customer, find out a little bit about what she's looking for. Is there a product that she's interested in? Maybe she's interested in video. And that's a pretty specialized product, and I might want to actually transfer that to a specialist. And so what I can do with another click of a button is just go ahead and dial out to that video specialist. And I'm also actually going to use the hold API. And so I'm going to just make another request and put her on hold. I don't know if people will be able to really hear that, but I'm sure she's grooving to that awesome hold music right now. All right, and so if
Video
I go ahead
here.
and...
Video specialist here.
Oh, okay, sorry, I couldn't hear him over there. He's being silly. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop myself out of that conference. And then I'm gonna let my specialist over there take over, and that's pretty much it. Every single leg of the call. All of these calls are all, it's all using the REST API, so much faster, no TWIML, requests and responses. It's very, very easy to implement. I built this out, pretty much got most of it done in one night. So I'm sure you talented people out there could probably get a proof of concept up pretty quickly, and I hope that you do. I'm gonna hand it back over to Dave now.
Thank you. All right, one last thing to announce. That is Whisper. So again, this is very much a call center feature, but one that I think people have wanted for quite some time. For those of you not from call center background, what is Whisper? Let's go back to our example where Brahim is listening to this conversation between Alice and a customer. Again, Brahim wants to have his say. He thinks he knows all the answers, but being a professional, maybe he doesn't want to just leap in and say his piece where the customer can hear it. He just wants to give some coaching to Alice. So how do we do that? First, we'll make a post to the calls endpoint for Brahim's call SID, because we actually need to serve him, in this example, new TWIML. So it comes back with 200 OK. We've got a webhook from Twilio, and we serve TWIML, dial conference TWIML like before, specifying the conference. But now, on the conference noun, we have this whisper parameter. if you specify the whisper parameter and give a call SID, that is the call to whom Brahim will whisper. And so Twilio connects Brahim's audio to only Alice, not to the rest of the conference. Okay, now we're going to try and demo this. I'm going to do this a little differently this time. So what I would like is, I'm going to restart that. Can I maybe get like 4 or 5 people willing to come and stand on the stage? Maybe? Yeah, come on. Come on, we need a few more. Just don't be super shy. I'm going to dial in because, like I said, that's the one bug. Okay, that's probably sufficient. Thank you. Yeah, come up on stage. Okay, so I have joined this. Oh, and I can now reveal the whisper button. Right, so I've got hold music. Right, so if you could all dial into the conference, I'm hoping that this is sufficiently small enough group. Sorry, I should have said that, but hoping this is a sufficiently small enough group of people that we won't kill my demo. Okay, now if you could all hold your phones up to your ear, what I would like you to do is, if you can hear me speaking in the conference at any point, just raise your hand. Okay, so you can hear me in the conference call. Okay, awesome. Right, now I am going to try, see if this works. I would like to whisper to this person. Okay, so again, hold up your hands if you can hear me in the conference call. Okay, sir, can I ask you to approach the mic on the... Okay, and I just want you to repeat after me. So listen to the conference. Again, the rest of you, hold up your hands if you can hear me. So, that's it for our whisper demo. Yep.
I'm hearing you twice. I'm gonna listen. Go ahead.
And that's it for our whisper demo.
For our whisper demo,
This is probably
the
best conference call
best conference call
you've ever seen. So we hope you go and enjoy Bash.
So we hope you will go and enjoy Bash.
Get home safely.
Get home safely.
And now take a bow.
And I will take a bow.
So,
It's weird hearing him twice between the headsets.
thank you.
Yep. Not a problem.
Right, yeah, go have fun.